session. So we get to know one another, share challenges, share successes, questions, share resources. Araceli is helping me conduct our meeting. Araceli, I don't know where she would appear on your screen, but if you want to raise your hand, there you go. Very grateful for her support. Let's open with prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Merciful God, our refuge, our ever-present help in times of trouble. Help us accompany those who grieve the death of loved ones. By your grace, enable each of us to be fully present, listening more than we speak, praying more than we do anything else. Inspire us and encourage us in the task to companion others through the wilderness of grief. May all who mourn this day come to know your comfort, your peace, your hope. In Christ's name, through Our Lady, Mother of Sorrow. Amen. Okay, so this is our kind of standard agenda, and the purpose of this meeting quarterly is, we're really spread out throughout the eastern half of North Carolina, and it's not terribly realistic to think we could all get together for quarterly meetings. We will try to do that once a year for those who can make it, but we're really here to connect with one another. Those who are interested in establishing a ministry where there isn't one, so that we can truly be present and available and accompany as we're called to do by virtue of our baptism. So what I would like to do is, you don't necessarily have to share anything in this meeting, but if you could just tell us your first name and what parish or organization you represent, then we'll open it up for anyone who might want to share something that's a positive or a challenge or a question. So let me just share your first name and who you're representing.
I think we're unmuted. We're from Holy Family. I'm Cynthia, Martha, and Diane's not quite in the picture. She's too. There she is.
Yeah. Great.
And we've been leading the grief group at Holy Family now for just over a year.
Excellent. Welcome.
Oh, and actually we do have a Spanish-speaking group as well.
I'm Judy Shellcross from St. Michael in Cary, St. Michael the Archangel, and we've been doing bereavement groups for over 10 years. I don't remember exactly. And we have recently, last year, I guess it was, started Spanish also. So we're doing both.
Good.
From Bob Troy from St. Thomas More in Chapel Hill. We do bereavement about 10, 11 years, just like St. Michael says.
And I'll jump in here now. Ray Riley with St. Eugene Church in Wendell. And I had spoken to Deacon Bob Troy regarding his program, and I've called most of you people around the diocese to find out. We're going to be beginning our ministry the first Tuesday of next month. So we're already getting started.
I'm Sister Colleen from Holy Name of Jesus Cathedral. We've been doing the grief ministry for about 2 years now.
I'm Mary Dalton, and I'm at St. Andrews in Apex, and I belong to the bereaved support group for the last 2.5 years.
With Deacon Charlie and my wife Bev, and we've been doing this since last year, and it has been a grace to the people that we have worked with.
Awesome.
I'm Bonnie Mann, and I'm in St. Andrew's bereavement group, also with Mary Dalton and Katie Fortunato, and I've only been in about 6 months in the group.
Haven't seen you in a long time, Bonnie. Hello.
Hi, Amy.
And I'll round out the St. Andrew clan. I'm Katie Fortunato at St. Andrew in Apex, and we had bereavement ministry years ago, but just have restarted it post-COVID.
Amy, I think you're muted.
I'm muted. You hear me okay?
Yes.
Now I can.
Yes.
Great. So what I'd like to do is, if there, I know there are a couple of folks who said they're just starting, or maybe you've started, but you're sort of in the beginning stages. If you would share with us maybe a success or something you're particularly challenged with, and we're going to talk about resources. You might have a resource that you found is particularly useful, or maybe you tried several resources and you didn't particularly like one for one reason or another. That's important to share too. So again, you don't have to share at this time, but that's what we're here for, to encourage one another and to share successes and challenges and questions.
Okay. I could start. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I
Yes.
can tell because my camera keeps going in and out. I am part of a Bible study that happens at our church, and it's called Seed. It's Saint Eugene's Evangelizing Disciples, and basically it was started to then, because Catholics are terrible about talking about our faith journey, and that was the basis of it. It was with the help of Raleigh that we were able to get this program started, and it's going to be going on its 4th year. But with that, we have many members, up to 24 to 30 people that come or go throughout the time of the different programs. And unfortunately, one of the co-leaders that I have, she had recently lost her husband. And during the funeral, we were talking to other members who I was already aware that they were widows. And one of them, my wife had asked, "How are you doing?" And she says, "Well, right now I'm looking for a bereavement group because there are none." And then she told us of another member who had to go to a local Baptist church for a bereavement group. And as a Catholic, I was hurt that our church did not have this. At the small church that I came from down in Oriental, they had a bereavement group. So it was from that point I reached out to Amy, and she gave me a lot of good leads, and I started calling some people and everybody. And like I said, I know I talked to Deacon Troy, and we had chosen that we're going to do Seasons of Hope because it's a Catholic-driven program. It's self-explanatory. And with that, some of the other items that I brought in, because like everything else, we are not a rich church. I don't think there is such a thing as a rich church. So what I've done is gone and reached out to some of our sponsor partners, the local funeral homes, to ask for assistance. And with that, one stepped right up who does our calendars and said, "We'd be happy to do a pre-need seminar, and we'd be happy to give a contribution towards the bereavement program." So that will actually be taking place this coming Monday evening. So we'll be doing that, and it's already 2 weeks prior to the start of the program. So everything is being timed. We've been advertising it. The funeral home is going to be bringing in light refreshments because it is at 6 p.m. at night. And that's the first start. And from here, I'll probably be reaching out to some of the local attorneys that do wills and all, and maybe do a later seminar on wills and programs like that. All that basically is what I understand as falling under bereavement. I think we need to be inclusive at every angle, because these are things that people don't think about. But as a church, we should be helping our members to help plan and provide the information. That's it.
Anybody else have that type of combination, or you're trying to identify people who may welcome and invitation. Is that right, Ray? Any other parishes that have done that where you're looking to bring in or collaborating with a funeral home? Anybody have suggestions in that regard? Ray. Or cautionary messages?
I was just going to say real quickly, separate from our bereavement group, we offer a funeral planning workshop at least once a year. And I guess we're fortunate at St. Andrew that one of our very devout, faithful parishioners is a funeral home director. So we have him as a great contact. And they don't do a hard sell with their own business, which is really lovely. But part of it is because Pete is one of our parishioners, but we also found that in doing it, we balance it with our own staff member, our music minister, who does the funeral planning with individuals when they have a loss, is also there. And he talks about music selection and reading selection and all of that, so that it isn't exclusively just a business thing, that we try to round that out with the whole liturgy piece. And so having our music minister who does do our funeral planning with families and does advanced planning too, is there. And so we have found that to be a nice way to handle that as a whole separate sort of component of our bereavement ministry, is to offer funeral planning, but not in conjunction with the bereavement group, but just as a separate sort of informational session. We've been doing it about once a year.
That's excellent advice. And I think that does make it look like it's coordinated effort with the parish, because there are a lot of questions if they already have those answered about music and so on. I think that's a beautiful way to do it. And yeah, it takes the edge off the danger of commercializing. That's excellent.
I'll say that we do something really similar as well at Holy Family, which I don't think we mentioned earlier was Hillsborough, just to make sure everybody knows where we are. Much west of you all. So one of the things that I did recognize when we did that bereavement or the funeral planning workshop, when the funeral parlor was there, it did feel a little bit commercial. So I definitely applaud you, Katie, for making sure that it doesn't feel that. And Ray, I would definitely, especially since they're going to be a sort of a sponsor, I would definitely maybe try to have a conversation with them to make sure that they're not trying to take it too far, right? Because I think that could be a danger for you, although it is a really cool idea to have that community involvement interaction with the group, because that's not something that we've had or thought of in the past. So bravo on that.
Hello, this is Deacon Jolly and Bev. We do have struggled to find people that really want to do this, getting our numbers. We vary our times because some of these people don't like to drive at night. So we do an afternoon and early evening session, depending upon daylight saving times or other. We did discover that the local hospice says that after a year, you are no longer eligible for their bereavement piece, which a lot of people aren't ready even at a year, because we've had people come in and say they're not quite ready yet. So we invite people in. If they're ready, fine. We multiple parishes, St. Therese and others, people come to ours. And it's a come and go. Some people come for a bit, leave, come. It's the Grieving with Great Hope process is nobody has the same process, and you do it on your own time when you're ready, and that's what we push.
So Deacon, does hospice refer? Have you found that they're willing to share information that the parish has outreach or not?
They're not really, they don't really speak to the parish, but on the other hand, they are available for anybody who wants to go. So they're openly available, where it's a little more difficult for them to be recruited into this ministry for some reason.
But after a year, they figure you're done, so they turn you away. And if you come if it's been after a year since your loved one passed, it's like, no. So
Yeah.
not interesting.
Yeah, and really the fog, I mean, sometimes the fog hasn't lifted after a year, but I guess what I mean is, did you find that hospice, knowing that they're not allowing people to come after a year, are they open to sharing that the parish has something, or they're just not communicating at all?
Not that we're aware of.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question for everybody, and this was one I raised with Ave Marie Press, and that was regarding the Seasons of Hope. If there was a Spanish version, and they said that that was something they were going to pass over to whoever makes those decisions. Is any parish running a bereavement program for the Spanish parishioners? And if so, can you direct me towards it so I could share it with my counterpart?
Yeah, we do at St. Michael, and you know what? I know that she uses Spanish material, and I'm not 100% sure what she's using. I don't know if it's the Alan Wolfelt that he has a Spanish, because that's what we use in general, but I'm not sure. She had an actual journal, Mercedes, talking about at St. Michael. She had a journal that was really nice as far as healing, and it was in Spanish that she used along with the program, but that didn't is not printed in English, so we weren't able to take advantage of that. So there are different things that aren't necessarily available in our different languages that we might need. But if I'll find out, Ray, and I can get in touch with you and let you know what she's using, because I know she has it in Spanish.
Yeah, thank you. Because again, I come with a marketing background, and my point was that if there was English and Spanish, you know, the symbols, the picture, or whatever the marketing material you use, it could be very standard with just the writing being different and something that was recognizable, and that's what I was actually looking for.
Yeah.
You know, because too many times we have too many programs that are similar or yet different. And that's the consistency that I'm trying to bring, where we have one program in both English and Spanish, and it could be given, you know, and everybody will understand what it actually is, instead of having this one and then, you know, then they'll start wondering, what do they have that's different from here? And it, I don't have to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at Holy Family, where we do it in both languages, what we've found is we're providing the Spanish leader with our English materials, and then she's translating them. So that is definitely not ideal. But one of the other things that we do as the bereavement group is we send, when there is a new loss in the parish over the course of the year, we use these books called Journeying Through Grief, and Martha's holding one up. So we're mailing out these over the course of the first year of loss to the families, and they are available in both English and Spanish. So it's not an actual program, and it is not specifically Catholic, but you could certainly make a program using something like this if you are so inclined to go kind of off book, and you know, I think you would have to work in your some Catholic thought in there, but actually our priest has approved using those, even though it is not fully Catholic thought. So he was okay with everything that was in those.
So
Sorry.
What is the name of the content that your leader is translating, or, you know, in the moment?
So right now we are using a little bit of the Grieving with Great Hope video program that you can find on Formed. But a lot of what we do is bring in our own materials that sort of supplement that, and then she is translating those. So yeah, we've been, over the course of the last year, we've actually sort of been making our own program, and we're just going to start showing, tonight is our session, and we're going to start showing those videos and use them for discussion points going forward.
Part of the video.
Yeah, actually part of the video, because for those of you who are familiar with that Formed program, they're sometimes an hour and a half. And so we're just pulling out snippets and breaking it into multiple sessions kind of thing.
And then a question.
Yeah, and then there'll be question and discussion, and we're gonna give them some homework for reflection and maybe come back again the following session. We only meet once a month to kind of further that discussion.
And I know I made a note that St. Thomas More, Deacon Bob, do you know what content is used or what materials are used in the Spanish outreach at your parish, St. Thomas?
I really can't say what I do. I'm sorry.
Okay, what I'm thinking is in, when I send out notes from the meeting, Judy, if you want to let me know, I'm just gonna put together what each parish that has programs in Spanish right now, what they're using, and I'll share that in our notes. If you want to, can you find out, Deacon Bob?
Yeah, I'll see what I can find out.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll email Mercedes. I'm sure she'll get back to me pretty quickly. I know she's out today. She said she wasn't feeling well. That's why she didn't come, but yeah. And I wanted to comment, I really like what Katie was talking about, the monthly instruction for people about, how to plan a Catholic funeral and things. We've done some things at St. Michael, but not on that kind of a regular basis. So that's awesome. And it gives me the idea, Mercedes and I have been talking about doing some kind of a monthly support, just more general, so that people who aren't really ready to join a real, they don't feel comfortable coming into a group and talking about things yet, or they've finished the group and don't want to just be left hanging. We're done. Now you're all on your own. And that would be great. I do remember one that we had, not planning a funeral, but the Catholic beliefs of preparing for death. Whenever you're going to sign paperwork of a living will, what are the Catholic beliefs and guidelines? So we did a seminar on that, which is very helpful because, well, I shouldn't say this. I'm going to say it, and I'm probably wrong. Most people don't really know what the Catholic guidelines are, as far as filling out a living will. Maybe that's not true. Maybe everybody knows but me. But I needed to learn. Things like that, people, that's what I think are very difficult when it comes, if it's real close and families are trying to make those decisions and they are trying to make them in line with our faith and in line with what their loved one, needs and wants. So that can be pretty complicated if it's not understood or taught ahead of time. So that would be nice to do a little bit more often. I've been at St. Michael since 2007, and I only know of it being done once. So more often than that.
Do you
would be good.
And the diocese has documents for people to use as well. I'll make sure, those are on our website, but I'll make sure that they're in the notes, which I was very impressed by. I think we're unique in that way. Not every diocese helps.
Right. And Amy, they did a online, a virtual training session about it that I attended, which was really good. It was very good. Yeah.
Do you happen to be a train the trainer, Judy?
On that, no. I would not say that I'm a train the trainer. Not on that. And just one other little thing about what we're doing. For the very first time, we're doing a daytime. I've been pushing for this, I can't tell you how many years, but we're going to be doing in September a daytime bereavement group. We've been doing evenings, and I've been saying, please, let's do one during the day, because some people can't. I've noticed we have some elderly folks that they just are very tired in the evening. And I know a couple people that actually go to bed like 7 o'clock. They're not going to go to a group at 6:30 to 8 o'clock at night and try to drive home. So, but then the driving in the dark and all of that. So anyway, I'm excited about that. We're gonna do one during the day.
Judy, did you find
Little
a
things
day,
make me happy.
a time that would be good for that, or you would get the attendance? Is there any particular?
We chose Thursday morning after 9:30 because we have an 8:30 mass that's usually over a little after 9 and so we chose 9:30 that in the morning that they would already maybe be there, or that if they like to go to daily mass sometimes then they could already be there. So and we've had I think there's about 8 people signed up, and it's not September yet. So we think it's going to be a go and well attended.
Right? There are questions, challenges, successes? I have a couple that were sent in. Sacred Heart and Pinehurst, in case you all are looking at or considering various content sources. Sacred Heart and Pinehurst is using an updated version of the 7 Intentions of Mourning. Sometimes I like to, if there's another group that's used the content, then I like to reach out and talk with that person. So wanted to share what Sacred Heart is doing there. Then Lily of the Valley. For those of you who are joining us new this time, Lily of the Valley is really an organization, but it's not a parish connected to a particular parish, but it has grown from within ministry in our diocese. That doesn't mean it's diocesan. What I mean is they serve all of us, and the women who developed it, Whitney Whitmore and Lizzie, forgotten Lizzie's last name. Oh, Lizzie Lineberry. The two of them, through just by virtue of their baptism, they saw a need and responded. So Lily of the Valley is a ministry. It's a prayer ministry that walks with parents who have lost children through pregnancy, infant loss, or pregnancy. For the unborn. It's a prayer ministry, but I'll tell you, it is growing very quickly. The need is profound, and they are a resource for all of us in the diocese. It's on our website under Bereavement, but they are growing very quickly, and they have what I will put in the notes that follow this meeting with everyone is a way to just sign up for the newsletter. So you will be in the know with support that they offer monthly. They are having, she wanted me to share, Lily of the Valley is hosting a 6-week series that's focused on beauty in suffering. And they're really going to look at St. Pope John Paul II's apostolic letter. It's from 1983. So that's a particular type of outreach for people who are in that place and are interested. But really, what I want you all to hear is they are able to provide outreach and prayer and support for parents who have suffered such a loss. So that's what I want you to hear most of all. But they do have different types of opportunities, such as retreats for leaders and retreats for parents. And this particular one, that is a series on an apostolic letter. She also wanted you all to know that Infant Loss Awareness Day is October 15th. I also want to make sure that you all know, if your parish wants to plan or has an annual Mass of Remembrance, they're open to being contacts to help you plan such a thing, or maybe review what maybe the parish has been having that every year already. They can help come alongside. It's a tremendous ministry, and as I said, it's growing very quickly. And what I think is so amazing is these women are here, not amazing, but just a blessing. They're local, so they can come see you and help you in being a leader in ministry. So that's Lily of the Valley. I will make sure you have their link, and I highly recommend you just sign up for their newsletter so you know what their activities are. Okay.
I wanted to mention, so we were contacted by a parishioner of another parish looking for a bereavement ministry. And she was saying that she was still finding it very hard to find a Catholic program. And when I see all the different churches represented here, and when I looked on the new diocese page for bereavement support, there's so many more even that are hosting bereavement ministries. And so it's just surprising to me that people who are looking for that are still not finding it. And so I applaud you for the new page on the website and having real contact information and real information about what all those programs are doing. But I think still our challenge for all of us is probably still spreading the word that we're doing this, that we are there to support our parishioners. Because if people are feeling like there's nobody doing this, but then you look and you see all these churches have something. So that's a communication thing. And I'm not sure really what to, and Ray, you mentioned being on the marketing side of things. Maybe you can help us support like how to get the word out to the parishioners, because it's not necessarily something that like our priest doesn't really talk about it, except when a new family is coming to do their funeral planning. He says, well, we have this ministry that can support you.
And I'll tell you, I'm the chair of our parish council, and that was the number one issue that we had found is communication. Communication lacks at every level, including the pastor. You didn't hear it come out of my mouth. Because in fact, perfect example, we also do a Come Back to Me ministry for returning Catholics. And they are reminded every year at Easter and Christmas to tell people, if you're coming back for the first time, welcome. And we have information. It's never said, never brought up. It's like, I'm not saying it's not important, but it's important. You try to do whatever you can, and the communication that was what brought me to this, because I had found that there was nothing in the area, but yet through my journey I found out a church over in Clayton, our sister church or neighbor, St. Anne's. They have a bereavement program, and some of the people that are actually on parish council with me, they went through that program. So again, it hurt me that they had to go to another parish. Why did we not have, it's like nourishment. Why do we not have the nourishment that we should have here? You can't have everything for everybody. And in some cases, maybe that's where what we need to do to broaden is that some churches have some programs and other churches have other. And then sometimes if we overlap, maybe that's a good thing and maybe that's a bad thing. I just don't know. But again, it's communication. One of the things that we've been planning on doing, we do an evangelization at the local Wendell Harvest Festival. We have a tent and we hand out information for returning Catholics. We give away rosary beads, miraculous medals, and things like that. And included in that will be the bereavement brochures and everything that we're having, because like everything else, you don't have to be Catholic, just like you don't have to be a Baptist to go to their grief. Grief is grief. So we're going to have that. I've already talked to the funeral homes about having us included in their website, because they usually have resources, and we'll see how that goes. It's like they could say yes, but then whoever's in charge of all that may stand and go, no, we don't want to put individual churches on there. But if we could have a link, that's one other thing. But again, like you were saying, communication, it's just awful. And when going on to the diocese side, I did see that there's a lot of listings, and also there's a Lutheran listing, and I can't recall another church that was in there. So there are numerous ones there, and they do handle other things. I would like to see it broadened to the point of bereavement being a very large umbrella, because talking with some of you folks throughout the diocese, like you had mentioned, Amy, Pinehurst and all, I've talked to those folks down there. And, they're now finding people that are dealing with spouses that have Alzheimer's. And that's a bereavement program. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not equipped for this. In the case of bereavement, I'm only stepping up because I'm used to being a facilitator, and I really need a facilitator for this. Some of the people that I have with my programs, they're going through their grief journey now, and I can't very well ask them to become the facilitator because they really do need to have one foot out of the box. So that's why I'm doing it. And I've got one of my deacons, or one of our deacons is going to be coming on board. I had a long conversation with him, but right now we're trying to get our religious ed program up and running this time of year because he's the DRE here. But with that, we're moving on forward. So again, these are programs that I think I could see in the umbrella, because you have people that lost with drugs. We've had some people in our parish that lost children because of drugs. Unfortunately, it's on the Spanish side, and that's why, again, I'm looking for a Spanish program so it could all become one umbrella. Because we need to. So again, I'm going back to the communication. I've gone off the tracks a little bit, but communication, that is a problem everywhere. It really is. And there is no simple thing other than consistency. You've got to hammer that message to the point where people are tired of hearing it, but at least they know what's there. What works a lot for us, we've got the paper bulletin, and then we have electronic bulletin. But what's also working for us is the Jumbotron television in the lobby of the church when you come in, that is showing you these programs with their logos and everything else. And that seems to take hold more than anything else, especially if you're doing the International Food Festival. They would have their logo with the upcoming dates and all. So those are just reminders. Because again, those televisions, just like a billboard, if you know about marketing, billboards are there because you have 1/10 of a second to decide if you're going to look at the rest of that billboard. That is just the way why you have so many billboards and why they're very successful. So that television in the lobby serves as the same purpose. It's that billboard that flashes the symbol, the logo of the group or church group, if it's youth ministry, if it's International Food Festival or any of these programs. That's the better use for that for a parish.
I have a question too. And what I am so pleased about is the reason we've been able to grow the connections on the web page is partly because, it is largely this group. We're identifying and we're able to update who is the contact, and we make sure. I tend to not include particular days of the week and times because that changes. And the worst thing in the world is someone who has the courage to look for the information and then to show up and it's the wrong day. But it's growing. That list is growing because of you all in this group. I think what we're also talking about is, and I know it can overwhelm parishes, it can overwhelm a pastor, it can overwhelm a leader. We're talking about pastoral care issues and caring for people in crisis. And that's very hard when we don't have a lot of people who are making that the priority. It is truly, I think, the first line of evangelization. But anyway, what you will find on the website is we've tried to grow resources of support, because I know if every parish had a bereavement ministry of some measure, and we're going to talk next time we meet about like, what do you do if you need to do a one-on-one type of style. So we'll talk about that later. But if every parish had some type of bereavement outreach, I say thanks be to God. But there are many other issues, as Ray has brought up. That pastoral care site is designed to help you and help a pastor to have some safe place to share or refer. folks, because there are many, many challenges. So I think that's how we've tried to approach it. But what I want to ask is, how many of you here heard about this group from a clergy member? Did anybody come to this group because the clergy member said, hey, I saw that memo and I'm sharing this with you? Okay. Maybe you heard about it from another colleague, or maybe we know each other.
I think I did that first meeting. I think the pastor forwarded it to me.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm working on that, but I always do periodically say, hey, remember, we've got this. And by the way, we have a pastoral care website with a lot of resources and a lot of national resources, which is not a bad thing. We can be local. We don't, like, you got to be able to trust what the content is. So there's nothing wrong with national resources, nothing wrong with virtual. That's an example right here. Okay.
One of the things we do get death notices from both our parish and from St. Therese. So when somebody comes and has a funeral or whatever, we get the information so we can put it aside and reach out to the people. And when they're ready, they may join us.
Okay, that's two parish collaboration. That's excellent. I haven't heard of that.
I like what Ray was talking about. I've heard really on a couple different levels our need to make known. I think a lot of times we wait for someone to come to whoever they might come to. Hey, I need help. And letting people know that whether it's advertisement or, one of the things certainly is letting funeral homes know or hospice workers know that we have a bereavement group. One of the things that we do is if they come and they are planning their funeral with us, and we have the last couple of years we had about 100 funerals in over the year, which is a lot, but we're a big parish, right? And of course, always they let people know, but they're not ready at that moment, and they're not hearing half of what's said. We also have pastoral care volunteers that will call once a week at the beginning, once a month. And then as time goes on, they'll mention it again about the bereavement group. But as Ray's talking about advertising it basically on the television, if there's a television screen in the lobby or whatever of the church, it's advertising, and you don't necessarily think about you have to advertise grief. Not advertising grief per se, but it's really, how do we promote it? How do we let folks know that it's available? And that's an important part of our ministry.
That's a perfect segue to the resource spotlight. Perfect segue. Because what I want to introduce to you are pamphlets that you can download and have printed, and you can put your own parish contact information on them. Okay, where did this content come from? When we had our very first virtual networking meeting, I mentioned to you that there used to be a National Catholic Bereavement Ministry. It folded, I don't know, maybe a couple decades ago, maybe less. But when they were folding as an organization, they shared the information at no cost with all of us. So these pamphlets, there are 8 pamphlets that we have had. That's why this content, it was used with permission because they gave it out. So we have had them marked, put our label on it, Diocese of Raleigh label. But if you go to the back of each pamphlet, you can put in your own information, put in your own contact, because this is a way to say, we have other types of support, contact so-and-so. So there are 8 different topics, and they're ready for you to download and to customize and download. That's a way, even if the person, doesn't necessarily want that topic, or I don't know, however you might want to use them, mail them out or put them available in a narthex or something, they will have contact information, which I say is the most important. If they get a one-on-one conversation with you, that's huge. But they might be attracted to different topics of the 8 pamphlets. So I hope our role in the diocese is to resource and support you as leaders, and help a pastor to know that we can help a leader be prepared to offer some type of support. So we created these for you to customize to your parish.
Amy, I was just going to add one thing. At St. Andrews, they have a ministry fair about once a year. And at one time, we did it all together with all the various ministries present. But so this summer, they divided them up as, say, 2 or 3 ministries on a Sunday after each Mass, when there'd be tea and coffee afterwards. So as part of the bereavement, I just have my badge on, and my job is to just mingle around with people. And of course, I had to be a little bit intrusive and get myself in there and introduce myself. And then as I'm asked questions, have information to give them. They felt that dividing it up into smaller groups and not having it all at the same time was it was a new approach for this summer. So and it was I thought that was an interesting way of doing it.
Did you feel like it was more successful than the large group? I mean, it's good.
Well, I have to ask Katie that, but I felt it was more personal, and they weren't bombarded with so many ministries, that there was only just a small group each Sunday. So it certainly gave exposure. But I did find myself having to, push into groups and just introduce myself and share the information, ever so diplomatically, of course.
That takes skill and grace, because it's hard.
Well, otherwise, it's a waste of time if I just don't open my mouth at all, so yeah.
One of the things that we did at Holy Family was we connected with the Knights of Columbus. They do a monthly pancake breakfast. And so we just said to them, hey, can we come one breakfast morning to be there to talk to people? So we sort of made our own ministry day out of that. And we actually did have a number of people come up and talk with us and take information and materials. So that's kind of a way to sort of DIY it, maybe if you don't have something organized through your parish to do that, or if you do just have the once a year, that's certainly not enough opportunity to talk to people. So that could be another thing. And Amy, can I just say how great those pamphlets are? Like, we are sitting here all excited. We're like, oh, we're going to put them in our welcome packets, and we're going to put them in the NARIX brochure little thing. So thank you so much for doing that. I think that can be a great resource for us. And where would we find those for download?
Good question. Two things. They're on the website. I'm going to go look now, but I'm going to send them also. I'm going to attach them to our follow-up, but you will also find them on the website.
Yeah, I'm still looking up something.
Oh, are they on there now? I'll send three things actually. I'll send you the link to the page so you can see them. And I will attach them in our follow-up notes. And what else?
They are on your website right now under pastoral care. And once you get into pastoral care, look for the leader section. That's why I had my camera off. I went to find them. They're great, Amy. Thank you.
Welcome. So yeah, it says leader training, but that's where the pamphlets are. And I think it's good for parishes. You can just do a few at a time if you don't have a lot of money, or, it's actually probably cheaper. You go somewhere like, FedEx or Staples or something, and you can get them printed nicely, and it's not that much. That would be, but anyway, I pray that's a blessing for you all. I was gonna say, Anna, that was a great idea to go to Knights of Columbus, because ministering to men who are grieving is an added challenge, and that would encourage someone to make the personal connection with you, and it's less scary. So I think that's another good reason to go to one of their breakfasts. You gotta go to the people, right? They're unlikely to come to us. It's a lot harder. So there's super. Anything else? Oh, okay. Well, I encourage you to check out those pastoral care web pages frequently, and to talk about communication, share with other leaders, share with your pastor that they exist. They exist, okay? And I have said to pastors before, like, as I said, I'll send memos and help them to know we vet those courses. Once a year, I have someone whom I trust and I outsource, and they call each contact to make sure that's still accurate information. Sometimes the resource is no longer active, and we'll remove them. And it's very clear, trying to make it very clear on those pages. Some of the resources, if they're not Catholic, then you can tell that they're not. But I feel like you can't just leave people. If there's a source for some help and some support, don't leave them without anything just because it's not Catholic. We all hurt and we need support. So that's sort of the thinking behind Catholic resources, Christian resources, or just area resources, secular resources. Okay. All right. Our next session will be November 12th. When you get reminders or even the notes from this meeting, sometimes it takes me a few days to get those things. But share the information with anyone, share it widely about our next session. And what else I was going to say about that? We will do another series of 4 next year. Okay. Oh, I know I was going to say, you can send me just names and emails, or connect me by email, and then I add that individual to the distribution list.
I know what they're coming to.
Hey, Miss Dorothy, I couldn't see you.
Amy, we have one other question. Are those pamphlets either available now in Spanish or going to be converted to Spanish? Because that would be great for our Latino community.
We can work on that. It may take us a little bit of time, but we can work on that. Yep. We have the skill set. All right, let's do a glory be. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be. Thanks be to God. Amen. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Thank you all. You're a blessing.
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you.